All right, so with this exercise, there are a few different movements that we're doing. I want you to get set up to something where you can sort of hold on to it. I like holding on to it because now we're getting your lats engaged. We're helping with avoiding all of this arching. We're helping with flexing down. So holding on to something is gonna help with that. It's this motion. Then the start, bring your knees towards your chest, kick up your legs towards the ceiling, lift your butt up off the ground. I'll repeat that, just like that. And that's gonna be working your abs. Now you slowly come down. We're keeping our low back flat against the ground, keeping our legs tight, keeping our abs tight. Then we're coming up, doing that lift, and repeating. So just focus on not completely arching your low back as you lower down, as that may not feel great.
For this exercise, what I'm gonna be doing is first lie on my back, and I'm straightening out my legs and my arms. So the closer I get towards the floor with my legs and arms, the more challenging it's gonna become. And I really wanna make sure I keep everything still using my core primarily. So if I'm here and I'm doing this hold here, this is gonna be easier and this is gonna be harder. So the closer I get towards the floor, the more challenging. And what you wanna focus on is keeping the core really engaged to push the back up against the floor and minimize the back from arching. So if I lose my core engagement, this happens. That's not the right way of doing this. You want to keep the core engaged the whole time while you hold this position. And this is how it should look right here. So for this exercise, you're going to begin in a tall plank position, which is basically your hands just underneath your shoulder, your elbows right in between it. You're not over here, you're not over here. Everything is lined up. And then you're keeping your core engaged, making sure that your ankles to your hips to your shoulders are in one straight line. I'm not sagging here, and I'm not hip hinging up in this position. I'm keeping everything neutral. My shoulder blades are also engaged here. Now, once I find this position, I'm gonna go from a high plank to a lower plank position. So you're here, you're gonna drop down, keep everything engaged still. Your core is engaged, your shoulder blade's engaged, and then you bring the other arm up, and then you're gonna push right back up. You're gonna try to avoid too much of this rotation from side to side. You're gonna try to keep your core engaged to minimize that. So as if something was on my back, I'm gonna limit this from rotating from side to side like that. I'm keeping everything neutral, and then I slowly drop back and then push back up with minimizing a lot of that rotation. And you're just gonna repeat back and forth.
So in this exercise, this band is trying to pull me towards the anchor point. So just holding here is already hard enough. Your goal is to stabilize everything through your core, through your hips, and through your arms, and then to pretend your belly button has a laser pointer on it and it's pointing straight ahead. So my hands have to follow that laser pointer straight ahead. The further I go out, the harder the band's trying to pull me in. My goal is to resist that motion. So the first step, you're pushing out. Once you reach your elbows and they're fully locked out, you're gonna keep that laser pointer going straight up ahead, and you're going to then rotate going up, down, and back. And again, when I go overhead, again, the angle's a little off now, but when I go overhead, the band's gonna try to pull me over. Don't let the band pull you over. So your goal is to keep the band going straight out in front and over yourself. Your knuckles and hands should always be in front of you. So again, from here, I'm gonna have a laser pointer, go straight out in front, all the way overhead, core on, down, and back.
For this exercise, you want to make sure the starting position is like this, where your feet, knees, hips, and shoulders are all stacked up in line. Now in this position, stay strong in the shoulder blade also. With this hand, you're going to reach towards the back wall. See how I'm rotating as far as you can, and then come back up. You're going to use a lot of core to come back up, and then with the hand, reach the thumb towards the back wall as far as you feel comfortable, and then come back and forth. reach, come back up, and then thumb back. You want to make sure to move slow and controlled throughout this exercise.
Okay, so with this exercise, we're gonna start laying flat on our back. Then we need to get rigid. So we need to tuck your tailbone, keep your glutes tight, get your abs tight, try to keep your low back against the ground. Then you gotta really flex your quads, really stiffen up your entire legs because we don't want them to move. We don't want them to lift up off the ground to help with getting our upper body from curling up. So we're keeping everything tight below, arms up. Then we're coming up, reaching towards the ceiling with our hands, coming back down and repeating. As you get tired, you may want to take advantage of momentum. I would say try not to. Really focus on staying tight, nice and slow, time under tension, and you're going to get more bang for your buck with this exercise.
For this exercise, you're going to begin in a high plank position, meaning on your feet and your hands. So in the starting position, you want to make sure that your back isn't sagging, your hips aren't up in the air. You're remaining in this neutral position where your feet, knees, hips, and shoulders are all in one line. And then from here, you're going to keep your core engaged. I like to think about putting my hands and feet together, so I'm kind of pulling everything tight in, but I'm not actually moving. So I'm tightening my core, and then from here, I lift one leg up, drive that knee towards the arm, and then come back. Drop it, and then switch sides. I'm just going to be going back and forth. You want to make sure to stay strong in the shoulder blades as well while you do this. Don't let yourself fall down. Stay strong here, and just go back and forth. You should be really feeling this in the core, and then maybe a little bit in the hips as well when you lift that one leg up.